Hello, yeah, this is the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange session, and the prerequisites are, of course, you know what symmetric encryption is and have a general understanding of what modular arithmetic is. Let's dive into the problem statement. We have Alice and Bob who want to communicate on a public channel, and since it's a public channel, anyone can see their messages, anyone can know their communications. So you have Eve who wants to spy both of them. And our central assumption is that Eve can only spy on their messages. They have no means of altering or tampering the messages they share. So, in order to form a secure connection between Alice and Bob, so that even though you can know when they're talking or how they're talking, you have no way to figure out the particular context of the messages or the contents of the messages. Here, we use the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, which is a protocol that helps Alice and Bob establish a secured connection using a symmetric key, which they share over a public network. Before I talk about the maths behind it or how exactly the key protocol works, I will talk about a couple analogies to help us lay the basic groundwork of it and figure out the essence behind what the protocol wants to do. So the first one is the two lockbox courier. Alice and Bob. Alice has a box in which she can put her messages and courier it to Bob, and Bob can read those messages back. Now, this box is of a very special kind where you have two sets of locks, which one of them is blue, one of them is green. Alice has the green key, Bob has the blue key. And there is a third lock, which is the main lock, for which you can bypass both the green and blue and open the box. Alice has the key to the green lock as well as the main lock. She wants a way to send Bob the main key as well. So the first thing she does is she puts the key inside the box and locks the green lock, sends it to Bob. Now, Bob does not have the main key of the lock nor the green lock's key. So what he does is he locks the blue lock and sends that box back to Alice. Alice, upon receiving a box which has both the green and the blue ones locked, she figures out that, okay, the box was actually received to Bob, and Bob sent that box back to Alice. So Alice simply unlocks the green lock and sends it back to Bob. Bob receives a box on which only the blue one is locked and the green one is unlocked. So he simply uses his blue key to unlock the blue lock and gets the main key. That's how they establish a proper secure connection between both Alice and Bob. And in this whole scenario, Eve is watching when the box is being couriered to Alice and Bob, but she has no way to figure out the contents inside the box. The second analogy is a more general one, which is used primarily when you're trying to teach someone about the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, which is the colors of solutions. Over here, we have two beakers, A and B, and both of them are of yellow color. This is publicly known to everyone. Alice and Bob have some secret color solutions, which are orange and cyan respectively. What both of them do is they mix their secret colors into the beakers A and B respectively to get orange and blue. They send over this orange and blue solutions to each other on the public channel. So now Alice has the blue one and Bob has the orange one. Alice adds her secret color in the blue solution and Bob adds his secret color blue in the orange solution to derive the brown solutions in which both of them derive. Yeah. And our central assumption is that there is no way to break down a solution into its primary colors. So for Eve, she knows that both of them are sharing some colors, which are blue and orange over here, but she does not know their constituents. She knows one of them is yellow, but the other secret one, she has no way to figure it out. Over here, they still have same color solutions, Alice and Bob, but Eve, who is observing all of this interaction between giving the blue and the saffron to each other, has no idea that the final solution is actually the brown one. Yes, both of these scenarios are secure to some extent. Of course, you could just hammer down the box and open to figure out the message inside of it, or just keep on trying every combination of colors to achieve whatever Alice and Bob has. But they're quite difficult and, to be fair, tiresome, right? Now that we have discussed the analogies of it, let's dive into how the key exchange protocol works. Alice and Bob declare two numbers, G and prime number P, such that G is less than P and the greatest denominator between G and P minus 1 equals 1. Both of them have secret keys A and B, which they never declare publicly. A and B are between 2 and P minus 2. The second step is Alice calculates A, which is G to the power of A mod P, while Bob calculates B, which is G to the power of B mod P. They exchange A and B. The third step involves Alice calculating K1 equals B to the power of A, which is G to the power of B mod P, all to the power of A. And by modular arithmetic, you could just say that it is G to the power of B times A mod P. Bob, on the other hand, calculates K2, which is A to the power of B. Over here, I do seem to have made a mistake in the slides, but yeah, K2 equals A to the power of B, which equals G to the power of A mod P, all to the power of B. And that equals G to the power of A times B mod P. What Alice and Bob have calculated are exactly the same numbers. K1 equals K2, and you could say that equals to a number K. They can use K as their key for encrypting and decrypting messages. Over here, Alice knows that the numbers that are being shared are A and B, but she has no way to figure out how the K1 and K2 are being made because she does not know the secret numbers A and B, which Alice and Bob have. This method is usually considered secure if you're using very large integers. The standard is using 2048 bits or 4096 bit. If they're smaller than that, there are certain methods like the discrete log algorithm, which can be used to figure out the secret keys between Alice and Bob. And that's a diagram representation of the exchange happening between Alice and Bob, where you can see that Alice first sends her number A to Bob, and Bob sends back B. Both of them figure out their separate keys by raising that particular number to the power of the secret numbers. And then they use that key as a symmetric encryption. This method has one certain attack which is vulnerable to, which is the man in the middle attack. The way it works is quite simple. Before Alice can send the number A to Bob, Eve intercepts it and she impersonates as Bob, whereas in case of Bob, she impersonates as Alice. Then to Alice, where she is impersonating as Bob, she sends her version of B, which is taking a secret number C and sending G to the power of C mod P to Alice. Alice thinks it is Bob and calculates her respective key, which is raising whatever Eve sent to the power of A. Similar fate befalls Bob, and he calculates K, which calculates his version of K, which is whatever Eve sent to Bob to the power of B. What Alice and Bob think that they have found the same key for each other, but in reality these keys are different. Eve has both of those keys because she was sending them to Alice and Bob, impersonating as each other. Here, Eve is the middleman who takes messages, decrypts them, tampers with them, sees what they want to do with them, encrypts them back, and send it again. Are there any questions up until this point? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, how do we solve this attack? The best way is a way to ensure identities. There should be no scenario where a person like Eve can impersonate as other characters like Alice and Bob. The way you could achieve that is using trusted third parties, which provide some sort of unique certificate or signatures, or you can even say that as a fingerprint to both Alice and Bob, which they can use to prove their identities. And that does resolve the third party, the man in the middle attack. Yeah. And thanks a lot for listening, guys. That's the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange protocol. In the next session on RSA encryption, I will discuss a numerical example on how to deal with modular arithmetic.